Hello, my name is Brian Fitzgerald, and this is my third pitch for my game, Fortify. What is Fortify? To help explain what this game is about, think Angry Birds, but instead of being the birds, you play as the pigs. In Fortify, the player is tasked to fortify a fort to protect their king from a variety of monsters. Just like in Fortnite, the player has a set time to build up their defenses surrounding the king with the materials they have or was given from previous levels, and to fend off waves of enemies that approach on foot or in the air. It is a tower defense game that really focuses on player's choice and the positioning of walls and or troops. When the first level starts, this is what the player will see on screen. On the bottom of the screen, you will see a box called the player's toolbox. From here, the player is able to click, drag, and drop fortifications into the space of building. You can also place troops on top of these fortifications to help serve as turrets that will protect the king from incoming enemy forces.
The rules for Fortify are simple. In the player toolbox, you are given troops, which act as turrets for your fort, and different materials that are used to build your keep. Each resource is different, however. Glass is weaker than all other sources, but the player starts off with more of it than any other source in the level. Wood is a good in-between resource that has average health and has an average amount of it to use. Stone is the strongest of the resources, but it is almost rare to have. Notice how some of the walls are vertical and stone is horizontal in the player's toolbox. This is like that because when the player receives resources like this, they must be built like that, meaning you cannot rotate your building materials. This makes the player think about how and where to place these resources to give the player a strategic advantage. You will also notice that there are walls surrounding the king called foundation. Foundation walls cannot be moved or altered by the player, but can be used as, well, a foundation for the player to build upon. Note that even though the player can't move foundation walls, they have the strength of wood and can be broken through. Based off how much resources the player has in his toolbox, he can use as much as they want, so long as they stay within the space of building. Structures cannot go past the building point, which is symbolized as a bridge.
As the player progresses, he will face many increasing monsters that will want to destroy your fort and kill your king. These increasing threats could range from small puny goblins to fierce savage orcs. But never underestimate your enemy. Even the smallest gap in your fort created by a stray goblin leads them closer to victory and defeating you. When it comes to resource destruction, a goblin may hit a wooden wall fortification a couple times before it breaks, while maybe a rock troll can destroy it in one hit. The game is level based and rewards the player with new parts and abilities they can use to fortify future keeps. Remember, you can build your fort any way you want, so long as it is able to stop the enemy from reaching your king. Upon progression, you'll be granted powers from certain upgrades, troops, and so on. To help with decision in the game, the player can select a troop and then select a certain enemy to have them focus on nothing but that enemy until it dies. Risks for making a game like Fortify is deciding whether or not we should implement physics and or gravity to player-built structures. Do we want resources to snap on and float once placed? If the walls supporting a roof are destroyed, does the roof collapse due to gravity, or is it just destroyed on the spot? Do we want troops to have physics or move, and die if they fall from a certain height, just like a pig in Angry Birds?
Here is basic gameplay of what Fortify would look like for the first level. First, the player will put up his fortifications and troops. Then, once they have that done, they wait for the timer to hit 0, and then enemies will start attacking. Once a wave, or all waves of enemies are dead, the level is over, and the player progresses to the next level.